I think we're live now. Good morning, my loves. How you doing? I moved my computer around to try a different angle for the purposes of lighting. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit better for you. And welcome. My name is Dijana. Welcome to episode 2 of the Mentoring for Awakening series. I decided to do a series of videos with a little bit of teaching, a little bit of explaining, sharing a little bit of, my wisdom that I've gained in, in my personal life, in my time, and of course my training as a holistic transpersonal spiritual counselor. So today we are going to talk about, or I will talk to you about, as per usual, I have my notes so that we can be concise and to the point. And so today we're going to talk about how to integrate a spiritual life into day-to-day, because let's face it, for the longest time, for one to have a spiritual life would most likely, or most people would think of a spiritual life as a, maybe a pot smoking, tree hugging, barefoot, maybe even smelly hippie, without a job or many prospects. Essentially, there's, this stigma that's been attached to a spiritual way of being for the longest time. Of course, throughout history, I'm just being guided to note this, throughout history, many aspects of spirituality were deemed as, evil. And even today, there are still people that consider living spiritually to be either some sort of a version of a, stuck in the 70s hippie, or, a deeply religious person. Spirituality, of course, is a lot more than that, but let's discuss that some more. These days, especially in my observation, especially over the last, say, 10 years or so, the collective consciousness has shifted. That really rigid, outdated ideas of what spirituality is, and we've transcended ideas of spirituality and broken them, it seems, down to being able to much more comfortably talk about spiritual practices. So, for example, there are some conscious health and well-being practices that are commonly thought of spiritual as spiritual practices. Things like yoga, breath work, meditation, Tai Chi, certain martial arts, chakra dancing, and then on top of that, some holistic modalities as well, such as, health and well-being modalities that harmonize and balance within your physical being within, such as traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, naturopathy, crystal healing, sound healing, vibrational medicine, energy healing like Reiki, pranic healing. All of these beautiful modalities are often thought of as self-love, self-respect, and therefore, as well as health and well-being, and therefore an act of spirituality or a spiritual practice. So on that, Let's talk about some of the things, or 5, not 10, but having a moment, 5 things that you can do, or we can all do, in order to live those wow, might be coffee time. Hang on. To live our spiritual practice daily. So, my number 1 tip is to understand and accept the fact that the days of spiritual meaning, deeply religious, or some stuck in the 70s, pot smoking, drug taking, tree hugging, barefooted spiritual hippie, those ideas are done. This is very important, because when we continue to associate spirituality with those images may not necessarily at all be in line with how we think of ourselves today. And of course, those outdated ideas are not practical in this world. And if we are looking at the collective consciousness awakening, we have to move away from those really old paradigm, outdated ideas of what spirituality actually is. And we need to give ourselves permission to do this. So my very first tip again is to understand and to accept that those old ideas have now been transcended, and we are completely moving away from that. Once you understand and accept this, then you can give yourself permission to fully step into alignment with your own version of spirituality. Okay, number 2, spirituality stems from within. So you could say, or we could say, that to be spiritual is about spiritual being, which is within you, the spirit within you. So spirituality is therefore about the practice that you have within yourself, honoring who you are within yourself. So tip number 2 is to understand that spirituality stems from within. So therefore, our job is to honor, listen, and welcome the wisdom that comes from your spirit, as in your inner compass. Yeah. When you have a strong relationship with that inner compass, and that is in equal measure honored with the outer compass, as in, there's an alignment between what's within and what's outside of you, that's when you are living your highest potential. Yeah? Okay. Tip number 3, for you, is that you begin to understand that your spirit, that compass within you, that energy that is generated from that wisdom that you hold within you, is equally connected to your mind, your thoughts, to your emotional body or your feelings, how you feel about something, and of course your physical body. They are not mutually exclusive. They don't live somewhere separate. You may, have spent time in your life denying this existence, or being unconscious of it because it was somewhere in a shadow somewhere that you didn't or weren't ready to recognize just yet. However, your spirituality, your spirit, your wisdom, your inner compass is equally important and equally connected to those other parts of you or other aspects of you. Tip number 4. So what I say here is that you give yourself a moment, and if necessary, a few moments every day, or certainly whenever you feel inspired, to contemplate the spiritual or inner aspects of your mind, your body, and your emotions. So let me give you an example of what I mean there. I've put down very simply a glass of water in the morning. So having a glass of water in the morning can just very simply be a statement. Having a glass of water in the morning. However, when you contemplate, when you sit there and you look at a glass of water, or for example, I have an organic coffee here. But we're not going to talk about coffee, we're going to talk about water. So a glass of water in the morning has multiple benefits. So a glass of water can just be a glass of water in the morning, or it can be a glass of water in the morning that has a wisdom or divine aspect to it that has a benefit for my physical body. Meaning, if I have a glass of water first thing in the morning, it's going to hydrate all of my organs and wake up. It can be a wake up call that it's time to function and come alive a little bit more first thing in the morning. Yeah. So a glass of water can be a beautiful hydration flag for the organs that are within your physical body to say, wakey, wakey, we are starting our day. So the reason why I mention this is it can also have an intention of for your mind, for example, as well as your emotions, that once you have that glass of water first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed, it becomes an intent that with that glass of water, you become present as you are ingesting the water, and that water becomes like an intention, like an elixir, a well-being elixir to wake up, to regenerate, to inspire your whole self for the day, at the start of the day. So something as simple as having a glass of water first thing in the morning can just be a glass of water, or if you infuse it with that spirit, with that intention from within, it can just be so much more, and not just so much more, but extremely powerful because of all of those things that I mentioned before. Okay, tip number 5. Connect with others in your community that are on the same spiritual journey. Here's what I mean by that. For example, if you're a person that loves music, you may want to take some time to explore, say, sound healing. There are some exceptionally good sound healers out there that use all sorts of different documents, oh my God, all sorts of different instruments and sounds to create healing frequencies, well-being frequencies, like the solfeggio frequencies, for example, that you can use as part of your well-being spiritual practice, daily, weekly, when you meditate, when you're working out, when you're setting intentions, when you're wanting to create or manifest something, any one of those things. So if you love music, you may take the journey of exploring sound healing, for example. You might want to go to some concerts. You might find some sound healers on YouTube, for example, that just do such exceptional work. Artists. The reason why this is really important, and this of course can be, like going to yoga class, being part of a community that's on the like attracts like kind of wavelength. This is really important for several reasons. First of all, it supports a community because the community comes together in union, so it becomes this beautiful communion of souls together. And the other thing is, of course, that it's really important to know that we are not alone in this, that we are not strange, weird, that we share spiritual practices that are not just beautiful for ourselves, but they're beautiful. We share and hold space for others to do the same, that also enjoy that sort of stuff. It could just be like a bush walking or a walking group. It could literally be anything that your inner compass tells you that you are passionate about. Yeah. So that you know that you are not alone. And then, of course, that energy that we bring to the world by being in our passion, in our joy, by loving what we are doing, then expands and multiplies exponentially. And then we offer that outwards into the world, which is being in service to humanity, which is beautiful. Okay, I'm going to hurry this a little bit because I can hear that a person is about to do gardening just outside my door. Okay, so here's how mentoring can help you with integrating your spirituality into your day-to-day. Number one, working with me through mentoring sessions will help define your spiritual meaning. I can work with you to understand better what it is that your inner compass is communicating to you if you're uncertain and unsure, and help you step into alignment with that innate wisdom, with the spirit, so that you can become clearer with regards to your spiritual practices. 2, mentoring will help you strengthen that inner relationship with yourself, with spirit, with that wisdom within you, with that inner compass. Number 3, mentoring will help explain and integrate holistic understanding. So, meaning the understanding of how is that spirit aspect of you, that soul aspect of you, connected exactly to your mind, to your emotions, and your body, so that you have a clearer picture of those connections, those different aspects of within, and how they work like into each other in that beautiful holistic way, into that wholeness, that you understand that communion I was talking about before, that communion, that unity within yourself. 4, contemplate and understand your health and well-being practices and what they are in this moment now, at this time in your life, and how you can enhance this by actively participating and being conscious of your spiritual practices. And there is that noise, and my deepest apologies if this is really loud in the video. All right. 5, mentoring will support you in discernment. What do I mean by this? The process of awakening, or waking up to your best case scenario, what you are most aligned with, can sometimes be a little bit hit and miss. This is not to say that it's wrong, but it is to I guess, warn that discernment is required in this process. Often when people are waking up to the truth of themselves within, people are vulnerable emotionally and mentally, and so they can get sidetracked by outside influences, meaning watching too many videos, following what others are doing rather than learning how to strengthen their inner relationship, try a million different things based on what other people are telling them, as opposed to following what their gut feeling is telling them. So it is it's kind of this upside down instruction, like taking heat from the outside as opposed to from within, and learning to trust what comes forth from that inner compass. So your inner compass, your spirit or soul wisdom, will never put you on the wrong path. So fostering that relationship, supporting you in learning how to become sovereign meaning independent in your choices and your decision making for the highest good of your evolution. That's what sovereign means. Learning how to be really strong in that, regardless of outside influences, is what mentoring will help you with. And doing this, of course, in the most harmonious way. Because not everything is always right for everybody, of course. So, those are some of the ways in which mentoring can help, and some of the ways that you can do today to better understand and to allow your spiritual practices to shape your day to day a little bit more, to welcome it to come in and to understand that this is an individual journey, and it is a beautiful journey, and that spirituality really is about that connection within and about your innate, beautiful balance and harmony between all of those different aspects, meaning the mind, the body, your emotional body, and your energy body, or your spirit within. And to be okay with that, because spirituality, like that instance or example with the water, has just the most amazing actual practical aspects that you can implement day to day. And by no stretch of the imagination is it just about levitating in the corner somewhere, being a monk, going to church, or hugging a tree and smoking pot. No, that's not how it works anymore. We are transcending these images or these really outdated archetypes. And I hope that you can understand your own spirituality better and allow yourself to integrate some of these spiritual practices into your day-to-day living. Spirit is just to remind me, just before I go, Spirit is just reminding me of an example to share as well. So, for example, you work in a corporate office. You're at your desk, you have a high pressure job, lots of deadlines, lots of pressure. Lots of stress and anxiety. I am asked to share with you and to remind you that you could make a choice to turn off all phones for 5 minutes. Just literally sit at your desk, put on some relaxation music, and either watch something that you find relaxing, like, for example, I don't know, a nature walk or whatever, and literally just bring your energy back into your center and just do some breath work, some deep breathing, some relaxation techniques for 5 minutes right there at your desk, in your suit, in your corporate clothing. That, something simple as that, just 5 minutes a couple of times a day, is a spiritual practice. It is a way of bringing your energy back into yourself and reinvesting into yourself, regenerating, recalibrating, relaxing, de-stressing. 5 minutes. I'm certain that everyone in the whole world can invest 5 minutes of their time daily just doing something as simple as this. I will tell you also that should you choose to do something like this, you are expressing or having a spiritual practice and therefore are spiritual or have a spiritual life. Anyway, all right, so I hope you got something out of this. I would love it if you would try that again, geez. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the little bell button so that you can get notifications of, future videos. I will do these once a week. Feel free to share it. Feel free to start conversations about spirituality with those that you love, with your friends. Discuss it, see what works. And should you decide that you need some support support and some perhaps an actual day-to-day strategy, just connect with me. You can go to my website as well, www.dijana.org. Actually, I might make, hang on, I'll think of it. And you can connect with me via my website as well. Feel free to comment, let me know. About your spiritual practice. Okay, much love. Bye, darlings.